So what I have here today are two vehicles from the Blues Brothers movie. One is the Jake and Elwood's Bluesmobile, and the other is the Chicago Police Dodge Monaco. Now both of these are the same exact vehicle with a little different stuff on them. We'll start off with the Blues Brothers vehicle. You can look at the card right here. They have a couple different sizes, I know. This is like 1/64th, and I think they got a larger one. I think it's 1/8. It's huge, but this one's the cheapest, and I'd rather have the smallest one because it takes up less space. Like if I wanted to display it, it costs around $5.99 to store for it, so about $6. And on both cards, they're identical. It says the Blues Brothers is an iconic cultural phenomenon, combining the categories of cinema into something resembling a romantic musical comedy with road rage. The two brothers Elwood and Jake take their Bluesmobile, a 74 Dodge Monaco, on a wild escape from the approaching 75 Dodge Monaco Chicago police vehicles. The Bluesmobile crashes through storefronts, disappearing behind broken glass and clouds of exhaust. It is at this moment that Elwood utters the classic line, "They're not going to catch us, we're on a mission from God." And in true rebellion form, the two escape to safety, where they lead us down a road of ridiculousness and rock and roll. Okay. And this movie is a cult classic. I live in the Chicagoland, so, you know, a lot of people reference this movie, and a lot of this movie takes place in the suburbs and in Chicago. They're originally, supposedly they came from an orphanage in Calumet City, which I don't think really has any orphanages in there. My family grew up around that area, and I don't think there was one. But how he got his name, Elwood Blues, I think he was found in the town of Elwood, which is outside of Joliet, a couple miles south, I think. Anyways, we'll look specifically into the vehicle, and his name is Joliet Jake, is what they call him. I'm not sure how he got that name. I didn't really find much about him on there. But anyways, take it out. He was in Joliet prison. The prison still stands, but it had a fire a couple months ago, and I don't know what really got severely damaged, but I know it got damaged. I've never been to the Joliet prison, but it's famous. I don't know if Al Capone stayed there once. But anyways, this is the Bluesmobile. Like it says in here, it's a 74 Dodge Monaco. And let's see, it supposedly was a Mount Prospect police car. Mount Prospect is a town in Illinois, but for the movie it was like a car they got from California, I think, one of the police stations down there. And it says Doge on it instead of Dodge. D-O-D-G-E. It says D-O-G-E. I think I heard somewhere that it meant something, but I'm not sure exactly what the joke was about. Let's see. The license plate had something special on it. I wrote it down because I looked it up. Illinois license plate BDR 529, which stands for Black Diamond Riders. It's a motorcycle club that I believe Dan Aykroyd used to hang around at. Give a couple spins of this car before I move on. It does have an opening hood. And another fact is that there's a car like this at a gas station in Joliet. It's right by the Chicagoland Speedway, they call it. And they have a car on a pole like this. I can pull up a picture, and I'll show it on my tablet. But you can see the engine on this. It's at like, the gas station's called Food and Fuel, and it's like South Chicago Street and Laraway Road. I think it's called Route 53, that Chicago Street, if you want to look that up. It's very close to the Speedway, Chicagoland Speedway. Look at the base. Got a lot of detail on it. It's all metal casting, and most of these cars are marketed to adults. It has real rider tires, or real rubber tires. Real Riders is actually a Hot Wheels thing. It says 74 Dodge Monaco. So here's the picture I was telling you about. This is that Bluesmobile. It's, like I said, fuel at South Chicago Street and Laraway in Joliet. It's right by the Joliet Speedway, so it's probably not too hard to find. As you can see, this vehicle is a little different than the diecast version I have. It has a speaker on it. I think there was a release of this with the speaker on it, but apparently I didn't have it. And in this vehicle, they have 2 dummy characters in there, dummies in there. Let's see, a lot of times in areas around Chicago, they will have statues of the Blues Brothers. In this particular gas station, though, they had a painting, and then it had a quote. I can't remember exactly what quote it was, but I know they had a quote in it. It's right by the little Pops restaurant that's in there. So back to the statues. There's a McDonald's in the area that has both Blues Brothers statues, and I think they have Elvis and James Dean. It's like a 50s style McDonald's, or it's something like that. The theme is supposed to be 50s, but Blues Brothers is like late 70s, and I think early 80s. The movie came out in like 81. So we'll put this aside. That car was also a different color, I think. I think it was actually orange, because when you look up on that car in the pole, it has like an orangey color. So back to this, another famous scene from the movie with this car. It drove through a mall called Dixie Square, which was in Harvey, Illinois. And I did go to that mall, but the mall hasn't been operating. It was actually closed for like maybe a few years. And I know people that's been there. My parents have been there, and I think it went downhill. This car is supposed to not have a window on the back. But anyways, it went downhill, and I think gangs started taking over, and then eventually everything closed. And they decided to film the movie in there. I have a picture of that mall. It's actually been demolished. The governor gave the town of Harvey, a grant to tear it down. But this is what it looked like when it was standing. Let's see if I can focus on there. So it looked kind of like that. It was pretty dilapidated. It had trees growing in it. Some people did go inside and took videos. You could find a lot of videos on there. Just type in Dixie Square Mall. I forgot what side they said this was, if JCPenney's was on this side. There is a mall. There's at least a few malls in my area. One's going downhill, but it's not downhill. And then there's one that's starting to get dilapidated, but they decided to tear that one down, which is Lincoln Mall, which this was a big eyesore for like 30 years. And it was like, a bunch of rubble and stuff. It was right next to actually what are those, a nursing home like thing? There was a nursing home building on one side, and they had to look at that every day. I also have another picture. These photos were taken in my black and white photography class days in college. I think I had more pictures, but they were on like one of my old camera phones, so I don't know exactly where they are at the moment. So I actually had to develop these, by hand, in liquids and stuff. And that's it with that one. Last one, I probably won't have a lot of information, but the Chicago Police Dodge Monaco. They get chased in the movie, and I think once they get towards Chicago, they start engaging in the chase. I'm not 100% sure if they chased them in the suburbs at all. I don't think they really have much jurisdiction to really do that, or I don't really know how that works, because a lot of the towns aren't that close to Chicago, or some of them are somewhat close, but I think Harvey's still a little far off from Chicago. Let's see, this one has an opening hood on it. You can see engine inside. It's a nice white color. Supposedly close to the period of this car came out. It says 74 Dodge Monaco, so it's actually supposedly the same casting, but somewhere it says it's 75 on the packaging on the back. Still pretty cool. I wish Hot Wheels would gain the ability to make this casting. Because it'd be cool, because then you can buy a bunch of these and it'd be a lot cheaper to, make a little car chase scene with both of them. Give it a little more spin. It's got the sirens and stuff on there. And the last thing I wanted to show you, which I forgot, this is another version of it. It's the same release, but there are subtle differences, and differences is the dirt and grime on there, which, assumably the paint, I guess it might be a little difficult to paint it. But, each car is a little different with that, dirt-like paint. But anyways, that's pretty much about it. You can like, share, comment, subscribe, and have a nice day.